try to be out in less than a year. No drugs, no dogs, no weapons in here. You see, I'm trying to get out, man, but I feel trapped. What employer gonna hire me when I sell?
This is episode 4, Deeper Than You Think podcast.
Back.
We are back. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, brother. Nice to see you.
Hey, likewise, man. It's a beautiful day. We have a special guest in here today.
Yes, sir.
My dog, Mr. Jason.
Hello there.
How you doing today, brother?
Salutations and greetings. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yes, sir. Yes,
nice
sir.
to meet you, Jason.
Nice to meet you, Cody.
So I remember this is my former boss, right? I used to work for this guy.
Okay.
Jerk. Fucking jerk.
Oh, this is
Supervisor. Boss is such a shady word.
Okay, supervisor. Yeah. I remember the first day I saw you. I remember the first day. It was funny because I was going in for an interview, right? I hop out the car and I'm a little nervous, right? So I'm walking up and then some dude is standing by the back gate or the roll-up gate, you know, it's on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in and he's like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good." He's all right, cool. It's just hella energy. And I'm like, excuse me.
Look at this motherfucker.
Look at this guy with all this energy. I was like, must be the boss's son. He has no care in the world.
Right?
I ain't getting fired.
The world is his oyster.
But no, that was the first day. I remember that day. But
so that was Jason?
That was Jason, man. It still is, man. So
yeah, I put my energy into what I do, man. Even just working in a warehouse full of appliances, I loved it, man. I was, my light shine, dude. My light shine.
That's for
Nothing
sure.
wrong with that.
My man had tons of energy. I remember that day. I was like, I still remember that. I was hopping out. He was just hella, just posture and everything. He was excited. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So you've had an interesting time since I first met you. I think it was like five or plus years, I think.
Yeah. I think I want to say 6, maybe 7 years, dude. It's
6, 7 years.
Yeah, that appliance job was.
I was saying, this was at Friedman's or Friedman's, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay.
No plugs.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't gonna say anything.
No plugs.
Damn.
That place.
They ain't paying us.
Okay.
And fuck them.
Okay.
But yeah,
No
I see
plugs.
where we're at on that.
Place.
Yeah, we're at a location that is discreet.
That was that one spot for that one company.
Yeah, that appliance spot. That was almost 20 years of service.
Yeah, he put in lots of work.
Yeah. Cut short by the COVID and the opportunity of my supervisor to eliminate my position.
Oh, good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
So the boss is not your dad.
No. It was owned. It was a family-owned company, but yeah, it was.
Remember that video I showed you of Bashar, the dude that channels?
Yeah. You know what? That's funny. That's the trigger right there.
Yeah.
That's what got me on Dolores Cannon, I think, because I started looking at it. Yeah. Well, I started doing the ET and the channeling because I remember I really got into him. You turned me on to him, and I got into all his videos and started watching all that stuff. And he was kind of echoing or reflecting the same shit that Eckhart Tolle was saying. Of like, find the frequency you want to be in and be there and then stay in that frequency in that moment. If you want to be happy or if you want to grieve, recognize that frequency, that moment and, honor it and move on, Yeah. That's right, dude. That's right. I really got into Bashar. Yeah. And that led me into, I think that's how I found like Alba Weinman and Dolores Cannon.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That is the trigger. I think that was it. Because after that, dude, I started soaking in everything I could on YouTube, but that channeling stuff was tripping me out. I was like, These you got aliens talking through them to us, like, whoa. Because the message, like I remember talking to you about it, the message, you know, I could get it. Like you start talking to people about it, it's very left field. You know, you're like, these people channel aliens from outer space, but the message is so harmless. So like you can either believe it and listen to it, or just let it be. You know, let them, you know, do what he wants to do with it. But the message was so uplifting and so positive. It's like, why would you not latch onto it and just like see what you can get out of it? You know?
Yeah. I just started The Custodians.
That's the book that I first read. That's the first book I read, because
that's what Ray told me to start out with that one.
What was that?
Ray told me to start out with that one through the Dolores Cannon series. Yeah. So
yeah, it's a good book, dude. All those are gonna flip your wig, dude. It's amazing the stuff that she digs up with this hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm. I just got the audio book, so when I got time, I just throw it in my headphones and walk around the house and clean or whatever I'm doing, trying to soak that up.
Yeah, it's some cool shit.
It's pretty dope. So so he wasn't the supervisor at the time. So you worked there. You worked there for like 20 years, right?
Yeah. I was at the spot. Started as just an assistant delivery driver, and then got to be a lead driver, and then worked in the warehouse, and got to supervisor. So yeah, I mean, I had this small little world that I climbed this ladder, and like I said, I thought I got to the top, and that was what life was for me. You know, get that job, buy that house, just be secure in some company somewhere. You know, but once I got there, in doing the spiritual work and reading of books by Eckhart Tolle, it like tears your soul. You're in this position where you're, you know, giving your lifeblood, you know, day in and day out, and there's not much given back to you. And then you're seeing that there's this, you know, you should be in service and be given to people and not be used by someone. And it's so, it was a conflict internally. And that's kind of where the awakening happened.
Yeah, kind of straddling the fence and shit.
I was having that.
Hard. And that's not good on the crotch.
No. I was having that talk with my tattoo artist yesterday, just kind of saying that naturally we understand what we're supposed to be doing, or, you know, what's natural for us. We understand it, but we were born into a world already that has all these expectations, or, you know, like you said, having the job, the house, the old American dream type vibe. So that feels natural to us. But when we see that there's a deeper meaning to life, it's kind of hard for us to fight that battle of like, this is what we were raised to think. This is what we know. This is the world we live in. But these are things that are natural. You know what I mean? And they're almost so strong. It's like you can't ignore them.
And that's a word that I hear and I use now, and it's the word programming. You know, I feel that way now when I look back, like seeing what I saw where the carrot was, you know, or where they dangled the carrot, and I was chasing that carrot.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you finally make it to the top, right?
Well,
You're the man,
so to speak.
I guess,
in my world, in my small world, I was like,
in your
I
world,
come from humble beginnings. So I was like, here I am, the supervisor, got 16 dudes underneath me. I'm like, look at me, you know.
Look at me go. Huh? Look at you.
Let me snap my suspenders.
Yeah, there you go.
So after that, that's when that COVID hit.
Yeah, the COVID hit, and the deteriorated relationship with my boss. He used the COVID as an opportunity to just kind of eliminate my position and move on with no operations manager.
Yeah.
So that was and something we haven't touched on yet happened about a month after I had this quantum healing hypnosis session.
So what led you to go to that session?
And about Dolores Cannon and seeing about all this information, all this stuff she was able to pull out of her clients with this hypnotherapy about not just the past life stuff, but the alien lives or off-world lives that people are pulling out of their subconscious. I was like, man, this is weird. And reading those stories that she has about star children who, you know, don't feel just feel kind of weird here on earth. You know, they don't feel like certain things belong. And I just, certain things kind of, I gravitated and related to. Like, you know, like the way we treat each other. And you know me, Ray, I treat everybody kind of with a lot of respect. I treat people the way I want to be treated, even people I don't know. And, you know, not everybody does that. That's, I guess, I don't know if that's a rare trait, but
I appreciate that, Jason.
Yeah, it's rare. And I don't know, maybe it's just the people I run against, but, you know, and that's a mentality that I have that I talk about. It's like, what about the next guy? And sometimes you don't see that in people, and, you know, humans taking care of other humans. So that's where I felt like the disconnect with the kind of like the human race too, because you're reading about these people that are, you know, they're saying it's their first lifetime and they don't have a lot of violence in their being, and, you know, they're not aggressive. They're very passive human beings. And that was something that I could relate to.
All these feelings and these approaches to life that you know now, like, did you feel this way before you started the journey?
No, that's again, like, that's where I had these moments at work where I'm like, what am I doing, dude? I'm here at the appliance place.
There we go. That spot.
Yeah.
That one place.
That one joint. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Down by the river. Yeah. That place.
Yeah.
The craziest thing, I ask you that because before I started my journey, it was, I feel like I was a completely different person. Like my goal for the day, my outlook on the day, it was completely different. Almost like I found an actual purpose, and all the shit that I was doing that I thought was working towards being successful, like it felt empty. Like there was no purpose to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and I reflect that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Because I look back too, and I feel the same way. Like, damn, all these things I was doing meant nothing. Because at the end, it was like, I still have nothing. There's nothing accomplished. Yeah. And that's when you start thinking, like, what the fuck have I been doing? And that's when you start going.
What's your imprint on society? That's
for real. Like, I've just been bullshitting this whole time.
Yeah. And that's where you got the conflict internally, where I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew what I was doing wasn't what I wanted to be doing.
Yeah. Hell yeah. For real.
So what was
I don't know. Yeah.
What was the moment that sparked the interest?
Doing the research on hypnotherapy, my own research, because I actually have a friend of my brother's who actually does a hypnotist act up in Reno, where he hypnotizes people for a show. It's like he hypnotizes them and gets them on stage, and they start drumming an air guitar.
Yeah. So
I call him and I'm like, dude, you done this hypnotherapy stuff? Have you checked this stuff? And he's like, Jason, yeah, the mind is crazy. It's got, there's a lot of things we don't know about. Let me share this story with you. And he told me a story about a lady who had like rheumatoid arthritis and came up with this band, and he ends up picking her out of the audience just on randomly without knowing. And she gets up on stage and she's doing all this, movement and everybody's like blown away that she showed up with. And he has, he talks to the people after the show, and they're like, dude, what did you do to her? She doesn't move like that. She was almost in a wheelchair. So, and he shared that with me. He's like, yeah, dude, the mind has some stuff we haven't tapped into. So I believe in it, and I had a conversation with him, and that just started this curiosity. So then I wanted to schedule my own, therapy session. So I started doing the research for people here in the Bay Area, and found a lady here in Oakland-Berkeley border who does the QHHT sessions.
Yeah, so you went to that one large session, right? In what was it, in San Francisco or something like that?
Yeah, that was before the QHHT session. It was an Alba Weinman conference. Yeah, she also does she doesn't do it the same as Dolores Cannon patented that phrase. So she does something, she calls it a journey of forgiveness healing, but basically it's a hypnotherapy with she does attachments or any sort of clearing that needs to be done. And then she had a dude who channels there from New Zealand. His name was Blair Stira. And me and my wife both went to that. And we had an interesting moment there where it was a room full of, like 200 people, I think. And yeah, that was another bump in the journey where this guy comes into the crowd and he's doing his James Edwards sort of thing, coming into the crowd and talking to people when he's doing his channeling. And he came to me and my wife, and he was walking by and looks at us both and said, I got to talk to these two, and sits down and he comes and he sits on my side, which was a trip, and he puts his arm around me, and I'm like, whoa, shit, what's going on? This is crazy. There's a room full of people staring at me now.
Wait a second.
And, he's sitting next to me and he looks into my eyes and he says, how come you're not talking to your dad? And I was like, boom, just flushed, because I hadn't talked to my dad in like 2 or 3 years. He's an addict. He's a user. He's always falling off the wagon. And this guy dives right in like that. And I'm like, because he's an addict. And he's like, you an addict? And I looked at him and I go, no. And he goes, well, you need to talk to your dad. And I was like, well, I don't know where he is. I haven't talked to him in a while. He's like, you need to find out where he is. You can find out where he is, right? And I was like, yeah, I think I could find out where he is. You need to talk to him because he's not going to be on this earth much longer.
Damn.
And so, that's some profound shit. That was some trippy stuff that happened before that. And yeah, that night went home, called my dad, called my sister, got his number, called my dad. But that was also a moment where maybe that other side was talking to me, telling me to get shit in order.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy too, because when you bring it up, most people that haven't gone through those sessions or haven't had the experiences, they're the first ones to be like, that shit's like fake or rigged. But every single person you talk to that's experienced it or come from one of those is shocked. They're like, no, that shit's real. Like,
there's no way he could have profiled me. Me and my wife went on a whim, went and bought the ticket that day and just showed up, paid on site, didn't even know if we were going to be able to get in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know how, it's not like he could profile me or knew anything about my life.
And that's deep shit. That's like, I'm sure that's not something you're posting on Facebook and Instagram. I
wasn't the only one too. Yeah, I wasn't the only one. We went around the room and affected a few other people with some stuff that was going on with them. And it was profound. And that wasn't it. He talked the whole day about things that you and we discussed, or you discussed on your podcast, and people discuss in the New Age about treating everyone as you're meeting yourself, looking other people in the eye and seeing yourself in them, because we all belong to the same one. The all is one, the one is all type of beliefs.
Yeah.
There was also a group meditation there. There was another lady there. But that was a really deep day for me too. That was definitely a day that kicked me in the butt and sent me on my way on the journey.
Yeah.
The opening.
Yeah. That's like, get your ass out there now. You got some work to do.
Yeah. It was, and that was, the dude that he channels this Mesopotamian, or no, it was a Sumerian guy named Tabash. And, it's a New Zealand guy. So he's got this Australian, he's already got an Australian accent. Mm-hmm. And then he starts channeling, which is cool. He sits down, goes into his meditation and pops up, and he's got this whole different dialect. It was neat.
So after you went to that function, you looked up what? You had a session with who exactly?
I'm not sure if I can say her name. Is that
okay? What was the session? What was the session?
It was a session in Berkeley. She's a practitioner of QHHT. She does a lot of other things too. Now she's branched out into light language and sound healing. Okay. I still keep in contact with her. I got her email. Really, really cool Asian chick. That's just. It was a good experience. It was just kind of like a phone book thing where there was a good 5 people that I found, and I went with her. And met her on her spot in Berkeley. And this was like a month before, like we're saying, a year, like before COVID was serious. People weren't taking it serious and everything was wide open. And, went to her little spot in Berkeley. It was very cool.
So before that though, how did you feel going into that? Like, so So you did a hypnotherapy. How were you feeling going into it?
I was excited. Because I knew there was things inside myself that were untapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And reading about the sessions and seeing the sessions online that other people were having and hearing the things that were coming out of their subconscious, it was intriguing would be the word, I guess. I was very curious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you go there. What was the process like?
It was cool. They have you practice visualizations. She sends you a little email on how to get prepped, and they want you to do some visualizations with your, what is it? The left side of the brain, right? It does. They
trigger the left side.
Yeah, they give you some visualizations to practice. They say there's some stuff online, but they want you to get in that part of your brain where you can just visualize and not analyze.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that the day before, but I ain't gonna lie, dude. I was super excited. Like there was, some butterflies a little bit.
I would be too.
Yeah.
But the process is cool. She sits you down and you don't get right into it. She talks to you about your life and sees what's going on. You bring a list of 20 questions that you would want to ask your subconscious if you had the opportunity to.
20 questions?
Yeah.
Bro, how hard was that coming up with 20 questions?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I could get 20.
What a cool process, right? Like 20 questions if you could ask your subconscious, and get answers to some shit. So trust me, there was a rough draft and then there was a whittling down process, right? So, but yeah, that was fun. That was fun to try to think of. But the thing was, she didn't ask all my questions because shit can take a turn. She'll find something else and she wants to ask about this. So
yeah.
But that was the process to prep.
Man.
And
so
go ahead.
So they recorded your session.
Yes. Yeah. And, she, like I said, she gets you set up, asks about what's going on in your life, people, things, asks you about your questions. She derives her own questions from that little kind of getting to know you session. And that takes about an hour and a half. She's just kind of feeling you out, getting to know your story, your life story.
Yeah.
Then you do some breathing, you relax. She has this sofa right there. It's kind of like a psychiatrist's office, she lays you down, sets up the equipment. You just do some breathing with you, and she starts working you through the visualizations. Yeah, that was it was. You've seen the session. It was
that was a dope session. And I wanted to ask you during your session, do you remember how was it feel? How did it feel being hypnotized?
Yeah, see, that was the thing. Yeah, I had never been hypnotized before, so there was a part of me that definitely, my ego part of me was saying this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of breathing, a lot of getting mellowed out, not listening to that ego part of my brain, and just relaxing, just allowing your body to just relax. And she was actually trained by, I think she went to the Dolores Cannon School. I think she was trained by them in the QHHT. I'll have to check, but she had a technique of just taking you up into the clouds, and you would ride into the cloud. And I remember being up in them clouds for a while, and then you come down off of the cloud into your safe space. And mine was on a beach where my family always vacations once a year down near Moss Landing. So yeah.
And you didn't take anything before this started, right?
No, hell no. This was, I was sober. I made sure I didn't even smoke like a week before. I was legit, man. I wanted to go in and make sure this experience was, 100% me.
That's cool. That's the best part too, is, there can be influence from psychedelics. I know a lot of people shroom nowadays and they take the DMT and they have these experiences, but to see this deep of awakening or awareness that you found on a sober brain,
Yeah. The subconscious, dude, it's holding a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so you just have to detach from the mind for a minute.
Well, detach from the body too, right? Because
that's like that oneness we were talking about in the last episode, where you get to such a deep meditative state where everything just flows together. your thought, your breathing, the way your body feels, everything just seems to be connected.
Yeah. And all of our consciousness too, I believe, like get in that state. Once you get into that zone, you're tapped into, you know, everybody's kind of circuitry, if you will.
Yeah, for real. The intuition unlocks.
Yeah.
So you're on the beach, right?
Yeah.
So you're hypnotized and you're in your little safe space.
Yeah, that's where it starts off. Yeah.
And she was asking you if you could see your body, and what it looks like and all that. And you said you're a white light. And she's like, hey, and I think she asked you like, where are you? Where can you go? You said I'm everywhere since I'm light.
Yeah.
Now, did you actually feel like, what was that feeling?
That was a feeling of there was no end to me. There was no start. There was no end.
Just infinity.
Yeah.
That's infinite.
It was just such a comfortable spot. There was no start. There was no end. Because again, like, you know, at that point I've disconnected and I saw myself on that beach and you remember, I kind of like, she asked like, where did my body go? I kind of vaporized. I disappeared almost and turned into this like white cloud. And then the light part of it, I felt like I was the light, became light, and was just
the ultimate state of being.
Just infinite, dude. It was crazy. It's hard. It's weird talking about it because, you know, again, like my ego right now is talking to me like, dude, you sound like a nut bar, bro. You sound like a nut.
No,
you know?
Hell no.
It was really deep
to me.
And that's what it was. If I had to explain it, it was like there was no beginning, no end, no start, no finish. It was just a spot to be.
Yeah, that's crazy because she was like, do you see your feet? You're like, no, I don't have feet. I'm light. I was like, damn, like, how does that feel, bro? Because I know for like you always hear the saying that we're light energy, you know what I mean? We're light. So you're actually in that form, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without any,
there was no body, there was no fingers, I felt no hands, no feet, there was no head, there was just a beingness.
Damn, that's crazy. That's pretty dope. I picked that one out. I was like, damn, you're like, I could be everywhere anytime. It's like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's
energy, baby.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
So
we are energy.
Do you recall how long that session was?
Yeah, it was. I think in its entirety it was an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. It's edited down online on YouTube.
Yeah.
There was some personal stuff that was edited out.
How long did it feel like for you though?
Man,
did it seem longer?
Honestly, yeah, it felt, when I got up, it felt like maybe 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it felt really quick. But she got up and she told me how much time. I was like, whoa, you're fucking kidding me. You know?
And and how did you feel when you woke up from that state?
Oh, man. So I couldn't feel it when I was under, but when I started coming to, I could feel my bladder and I really had to piss. But when I came out of it, it was really bizarre. And never felt anything like this before, but I'm laying on this couch and my hands and my feet felt like when you see the movie Butterfly Effect and he's like all vibrating really fast.
Looking crazy.
That's what my hands and my feet felt like, kind of as I was coming out, and I could kind of feel it while
like you were
I was
glitching
under, you know. It was the weirdest feeling. That's the only way I could describe it. It just felt like they were just beyond control, just like a huge vibe, like vibrating intensely.
Damn.
And then I came to, and she gave me a couple stones to hold. And since I really had to pee, I had to get up really quick, but I could barely walk. So I was like running into the wall, like.
I hear, hold your stones. I gotta go tend to mine.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
It was it was a trip. Man, bizarre.
So this was before COVID and all that shit happened, right?
Right before, about a month before they locked everything down.
So they locked down, and then you lose your job.
Yes. Then my job that I'd had for almost 20 years.
20 years. And that's all you know, right? That's what you did. You woke up early in the morning, left late at night, and did it all over again.
Dude, I worked 16-hour days when it was asked.
Yep.
To that one spot.
You know?
Mm-hmm. So you get chopped, and then it's sort of like, what now, right?
Yeah. And it all ties into that session, because again, we didn't talk about that, but the part in there where I saw myself, my own being die, you know, this feeling of being okay with it all.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because again, I'm, you know, you come out of that session with all that information, you remember some of it. I remembered most of it, but then you go home and you got it all recorded and you watch it all. So you're digesting it all for the next 24 hours. Again, your ego's fucking with you like, dude, what were you talking about? You're bizarre. What is it? You know, because I was talking about being an elf in this forest and taking care of the animals in the forest and seeing my own elf body like die. And there was something going on with the forest where the forest was dying.
That's your subconscious working overtime.
Yeah, well, it's. I think it was another dimension, like another existence I had, or maybe having somewhere. Mm-hmm. So, and I saw this being die, and I was like totally cool with it. I knew it was me. I knew I was watching a part of me die, but it was like a feeling I had, like, you know, that's the way things are, cycles. Things come and go. You'll just move on to the next cycle.
Yeah.
So I was shown that lifetime or that dimension, and I think it applied to me in this lifetime, and losing that job I've had for 20 years that I've nurtured and took care of, and like that forest, and it all just went to fucking down the pooper, pardon my expression.
Mm-hmm.
That's like perfect timing having that session, because you think if you would have went through that hypnotherapy that you would have handled losing your job as well?
That's a good question. Those are the questions where you ask, and then I always say there are no coincidences in life. You know, everything was
the same way.
Right.
Yeah,
everything was like.
I don't believe in coincidences.
The bread was sliced all the right way, you know, and that's how I feel how all the events in my life is stacked up. And I think everybody will agree that when you look at the body of work, you're like, whoa, what was going on there? There's something's at work there.
Mm-hmm. It's good that you see that too, because what if, man, that shit eats a lot of people up.
Yeah.
So many people dwell on what if, and if you believe that everything happens for a reason, what if almost doesn't exist, because that's just not the way it goes down. That's not the way it happens. So why even waste your energy on that?
Bro, there's always a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Always a plan.
And that can be empowering when you digest it, you know. You don't have to worry about chance, worry about choice.
So when you lose the job, you started to get into Reiki, right?
Yeah. I started doing research in what, you know, at that point I knew I was going to have to find something else, and I wanted to do something of service, because with all the research and reading and, you know, rediscovering who I am and what's important to me, I want to do something of service for other people. And, you know, multiple people have told me that I have a great personality. I'm great with people. People really gravitate towards me. I have you know, just a kind of, you know, I remember one guy, this is a weird story, but I had this job back when I was a young kid. I worked at this pet food place, and this older dude was like in his 30s or something. And he said something to me, I never forget, but we were in the back, we're like throwing bags of dog food. And he goes, he was a religious man. I remember that. He was like a pastor, and, you know, he had no reason to say this, but we're throwing bags of dog food. He looks at me, he goes, you know what, Jason? You know, your light really shines, man. It really shines, bro. I just wanted you to know that. And things like that, you know, just, I don't know why, but it just stuck in my head, that moment. And that man. And weird. Not
weird, but they just make you wonder, what does that person see that I don't?
Yeah.
You know?
And that's, you know, that's a moment I think where, like your guardian angels, whatever you want to call it, just kind of bump you in the right direction, give you that poof, you know.
Yeah, let you know you're in the right spot. Yeah. That's pretty dope.
I had I was working I think I was working for a company doing installations, and I went to this home, and as soon as I walked in, it was an older couple. They're probably in their 70s. You know, the woman of the house, she just started crying and she started praying. You know, I could tell they were very religious, and she only spoke Spanish. And so I'm working, and the whole time she's like following me and she's crying, but she's praying. I could tell I know enough Spanish to tell that she was praying in Spanish. And I'm like, all right. And at the end of the job, she comes up and she hands me $100. And I'm like, no, I can't take this. And she like, the husband came up and he was like, no, you have to take this, you know. And we went outside, and I asked him, I was like, hey, do you mind telling me what that was about? And he was like, she just keeps telling me that you're special. Like, you have a light, you're going to help people. Like, she just feels like you came to her, and there's like, not like a guardian angel, but, you know, similar to that. Like, she's saying that. And then for me being 19 years old, 20 years old, I'm like, what just happened? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just crazy because those situations start to make you think about yourself and like what you're doing and what your purpose is. And I don't know. I think it's kind of
How
cool.
you affect other people.
Yeah. It kind of, that opportunity, or not, for me, it was an opportunity to learn instead of just saying like, oh, this was crazy. That crazy lady was tripping, you know.
Yeah.
For me, it struck me, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start thinking about that.
Yeah. Moments where you get touched.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
By random people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that just shows you, though, you know what I'm saying? Nothing, like you saying, nothing happens for a reason. Everything is for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't know now, down the road, it'll all tie in.
Oh, yes.
Which is so dope.
Agreed.
So, so you started studying Reiki, right?
Yeah, I am currently studying Reiki and massage at an institute here in the Bay Area. So I'll be a certified massage therapist here in probably the next couple of weeks. And my Reiki training is just level 1. I've been looking at a few different teachers. There's a lady in Concord, and of course there's a bunch out in Berkeley and in the city.
Yeah.
I want to get the massage training done first. I want to focus on one modality at a time, because there's a lot going on with massage. There's a lot of different modalities there.
Hey, I remember when we were talking, you're talking about how you could massage somebody and they could, what was it? And they would just start crying because they have like a deep, what was that?
Yeah, emotional release. Yeah,
emotional
there is a
release.
Such a thing as emotional
let's
release.
talk about that.
Yeah. You can get into someone's past trauma with deep tissue or certain areas. God, what were the examples? I can't believe that off the top of my head, but if you talk to massage therapists, it is true. There are people that will go into crying or laughter, or, you know, who knows what. It could be anger, something you tap into deep and psychologically just by accessing, an adhesion or a bruise in the muscle.
Just like an energy release, right? So you work that spot, and that energy just releases. And
well, the body is like a walking history, kind of, right, of what you've experienced in your life. So, like
they say, residual hauntings are just energy that's been stored from a place in time, and that knot or that muscle problem is held energy from that trauma, you know.
That girlfriend from high school that you just couldn't let go, you know, that knot in your back, right behind the shoulder blades. You know,
for me, it's my sciatic. That's where I hold all that energy, man. Jeez.
A lot of people, and that's the thing, you know, the body holds all this energy in these spots, and that's what I'm learning with this Eastern modalities. We're learning the shiatsu and the channels of the body, the yin and the yang. It's really interesting stuff, because even with just little pressure points on the body, you can move energy, release energy, and move energy, which is the whole theory of shiatsu. You know,
that's crazy, because I would have never thought that, thinking about massage therapy. I would just think, the back hurt. Let me just work that out. But it's deeper than what you think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For me,
it's pretty dope.
Noticing the jaw, like the pressure in your jaw, like how much tension you hold in there, and when you actually focus on relaxing just your jaw, how much your body is relieved of stress.
And I'm learning about all the muscles, dude. There's so many muscles up in that jaw that, there's a move to massage one of the muscles, like going into someone's mouth, that they were telling us about. Like, you might want to wear some rubber gloves with the COVID. But he's like, if you can get it, there's a muscle inside the mouth that you pinch outside and inside, and people they'll melt. They'll just go,
There's supposed to be one in your hand right here for headaches.
Yeah, no, they call that, God, I forget the name of it, but yeah, it's right in there for releasing pressure, like for headaches.
Headache.
So we learned all that shit, dude. Don't make me bust out my book.
I know, you gotta check out his notes.
Body.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I'm really into it. And again, it's something that speaks to me and who I want to be of service for people. And what I want to do with this, it's, I'd be cool doing cancer patients or old people. Or
it's giving you a purpose, right? You feel like you're accomplishing something with your time.
Yeah. Not just and the cool thing about the massage and the Reiki and the energy work, I can have my own practice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
For real. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That's up. So you went from a warehouse man to an energy worker.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's a flip of the script right there.
Constantly learning, man. Constantly learning. I am learning about myself and this crazy fucking experience on Earth.
Hell yeah.
It's never too late, man. It's never
That's
too
pretty
late.
Dope. That's pretty dope. You like anything for the people to know? Any words for the people?
Man, just stay in a positive frame of mind and try not to sweat the small shit. And it's all small shit. That's one of my favorite sayings.
Don't sweat the small shit.
What you got, man? Any last words, homie?
Man, I'm just inspired by you did the 20 years and it went out in a bad way, and you found the light in that. So, I would focus on that. Like, if you found a purpose from a shitty situation, and that's resiliency, and that's something to be proud of. So congrats on that.
Yeah. And like Ray was saying, I hope it's maybe an example for someone who is in a shitty job, maybe, or didn't use COVID to make that leap, but it's a leap of faith, man. And I had my leap, I got kind of kicked off the ledge. I didn't leap, but
cool. I'm gonna have to try one of those hypno sessions, man. You got me interested.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I want to do one for sure.
Yeah, it's an experience.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. But I think, man, shit, you was 20 years in the game. You ain't getting no younger.
Amen. Got a birthday coming up in like a month, dude.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people who are in your shoes, or who have been where you were, and are looking for a place of just being free and being depressed. I mean, it's a good example because you went through a whole bunch of shit that could easily tear somebody down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Personal and financial. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's been a ride, and we all got stories. So
yeah, hell yeah. But shit.
Don't let your story be who you are.
You ain't gotta be young. You ain't gotta be old to go through this shit.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's gonna happen when it happens. And life is a process of growth and not being stagnant, man.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, Jason, it was nice to meet you, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you. And
appreciate you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys. And
peace and blessings, my brother.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings. This is the Deeper Than Anything podcast.